Coming up next, I'm going to show you why and how habits matter more than goals. And then there's a new sneaky leadership trend that I'm going to expose and help you understand what to do with it. Let's go. Hi there, I'm Ken. I'm here to help you make the difference you were born to make. And we're going to look at that in a work context, and it has a whole lot of personal implications as well. So let's talk about why habits matter more than goals. We're into a new year. I hope you are doing well with your resolutions. I, for one, do no resolutions. None. None at all. And haven't for some time. I'll let you sit on that one for a second because I'll remind you I'm successful. And I don't do resolutions. Say it ain't so, Ken. No. Resolutions have a horrible track record. Go look at the data. It's not my opinion. Resolutions are overrated. Resolutions have a horrible track record. They just don't work. Why? Because they're based on emotion. They're not based on direction. If I've got a clear direction for my life, I will then set real goals. In other words, mile markers. But setting the goals, in other words, mapping out the trip, is largely worthless if you don't act on it. So, I'm all the time challenging you folks. What's the mountain you want to climb? What's that long-term destination? So it's great to identify the mountain. It's half the battle. But the other half is, I got to learn how to climb the mountain. I got to get in shape to climb the mountain. I got to buy the equipment to get up the mountain. I got to hire a guide to get up the mountain. Okay, we understand this. So now I've got you where I need you. And now we have to understand that goals are not enough. And they're overrated too. Oh, goal this, goal that, goal. It's great. But if you don't determine what you must do in a day to get where you want to be tomorrow, next month, next year, 5 years, 10 years, 15 years, 20, 30 years down the line, the goals will end up on the ash heap of history. Goals give us a destination. Habits. Excuse me, I didn't say that completely. Goals give us a map to the destination. They're mile markers. Goals give us the map. They map out the path to the destination. But it is habits that put gas in the car. I got to get there. I got the map. A lot of you young people don't know what an atlas is. It's just an old school giant piece of paper that had been folded 350 times. Never could get that map folded properly back. I'm a bit of a disaster, a little too excited about something. So I remember in the old days, if I pulled a map out for my dad, I remember in college, I actually had to use a map. Gee, it just made me sound really old. But in college, I actually had to use a map. And I think like somewhere in the middle of college, like you would start to then print out your directions. That was a big deal. Huge. Huh. You mean I got to get on I-65 South and I stay on it for 300 miles and then I come to this? And you had it in your seat of your car and it was like this. Okay, what do I do next? That was literally how you got somewhere. That's what goals are. They tell us, okay, this is a map. This is kind of what I'm going to do here and then get here. All right, now, but habits are the gas of the car. Habits allow me to actually accomplish the goals. That's what I want you to hear. So there are a whole lot of moments that we must win to win a day. There are a whole lot of days that we must win to win a month. There's several months we have to win a year. You can have a bad month and still win the year, yes? You guys agree with me in the control room? I can have a bad month and still win my year. I can have a bad day and win the week. We understand this. So when we're talking about habits, what I'm really challenging you on is what must you do today? Do you have the right focus on the day, today? Not yesterday. That ended at midnight. It's over. What's your focus today? How do I win today? And then at the end of today, am I prepared to be thinking about how I win tomorrow? And then I'm winning 2 days. I'm winning 3 days. And I begin to string moments, hours, days, weeks, months, years together. And now I'm actually stepping into the role, not the job. When I say that you were created to fill a unique role, you are needed, you must do it. I'm not talking about a job. Because the fact of the matter is, Alex and I were talking about this, a job is one way to fill the role. It's not the role. What's my role? I'm going to tell you. Coaching people, and I do the coaching through communication. My role is to coach people to be who they were born to be. That's my professional role. Okay? Now I'm in a public communicator. I write books and all this. If I wasn't doing this, how could I still do that? Well, I could be a corporate coach. I could be a leader in a corporate organization, and I'm working on things. I could coach high school basketball. And in teaching young men the game of basketball, help them see who they uniquely are and prepare them for the future. So my point is that we're not talking about a job. We're talking about a role, and a big role, and a big vision, and a big output of my life is going to require that I win today. That's what I'm challenged. This is all coming down to, understand goals are great, but if I don't back off from the goals and go, in order to achieve this goal, what habits or what actions must I take? So let me just boil this down to my experience. I wake up one day and at 32, 33, and I realize I don't want to go into politics and serve as a public official. What I want to do, I want to be a broadcaster. I don't have any broadcasting experience. I got this big goal. And by the way, I'm sitting in the seat right now. I'm on the mountain that I wanted to climb. I'm on the top. Now I'm looking at new mountains. Don't misinterpret that. I'm not leaving. I'm saying, how do I expand what I'm doing? Right? But watch. Back in the day, that means I had to go sign up for a broadcasting class with a bunch of 20-somethings. They thought I was an instructor. I was so much older than them. I had to learn how to talk on a mic. I had to win the day. Ken, do you know how to write a headline? Do you know how to fill 3 minutes on the radio, much less 8, 10, 40, 60? I had to win a whole lot of days. And some days winning was driving 90 minutes on a Friday night to do high school football play-by-play on the internet. Nobody was listening except the kid next to me and my wife, because she's a good woman. But what did that day lead to? It led to some relationships down the line. There were several of those days where it felt like I was just wasting my time. I wasn't. I was winning the day. Your habits, your actions today determine the tomorrow that you want.
Do you know what you were born to do? In order to get hired at a job you love, you need to get clear on your talent, passion, and mission. That's why our team created the Career Clarity Guide. In just a few minutes, this free tool will walk you through a process to discover what you do best, that's your talent, the work you love to do, that's your passion, and the results that matter to you, your mission. Then you'll feel more confident throughout the job search process. To get started, go to kencoleman.com/clarity.
Well, folks, it has come to my attention that we have another work phrase. And I don't care about the work phrase because it's a new way of saying, or it's a new way of describing something that's been happening for a long time, and it's poor leadership, and it's affecting you folks. And so when I see things that are happening in the workplace that are poor leadership, I'm absolutely going to shine the light on it so that you can see it if you're under it and you know what to do with it. How do I deal with this kind of poor leadership? And if you're in leadership and you're doing this, you need to stop. And I'm going to explain why. In my hands, a finance article on Yahoo. And the headline is, "Quiet hiring is the opposite of quiet quitting, and workers are furious about it." Can we stop with all the phrases? Can we stop with all the National Cookie Day, Hamburger Day, National Love Your Dog Day? We got to have a phrase for everything. This is not a new phenomenon. Okay, this is what the article says quiet hiring is. And I'm not going to say that phrase anymore, ever again, because it's so nonsensical. It's just poor leadership. This is how they describe it in the article. A company assesses its current workforce, the employees, specifically those who have gradually begun taking on responsibilities beyond their job description. All right? We've seen a lot of people leave over the last year and a half. It's extraordinary. Like 75 million people, what it amounts to about 4 million people a month for over a year and a half, quitting, taking another job, as is their right to do so. But it leaves people behind, and there's also this employment gap. So the stress on employers, and I have empathy for them, is they've lost somebody. It's hard to find somebody to replace them. The work still has to be done. What do? And I just want to fully acknowledge that this is not an easy situation for leaders. So leaders, I understand this is tough stuff. I mean, it's the image that I have is like from my cartoon watching days when I was a kid, Looney Tunes, like the plates are falling off of the kid, and it's like Tom and Jerry. Tom's chasing Jerry, and he actually runs into the whatever you call that thing, the cupboard, and the plates are, and he's like, "Oh, crud, if I don't catch the plates, the old lady's going to beat the stew out of me," right? And he's panicking. He's running back and forth. He's catching all these plates. That's the image I have for you leaders, and I'm sorry. It's not easy. But welcome to leadership. But the response is not good. This response is not good. So a manager then notices that these workers have effectively started working in the position that maybe they wanted. So they've assumed some responsibilities because of need. And in some cases, it's the responsibilities that maybe they previously or currently desired. And so the leader looks at this and goes, well, if it works out, I'm going to dole out a raise or a promotion. Okay? And this saves the worker a job search, the company a hiring spree, and every one time. Okay? So that's the idea. It's like, you've already started doing this, so let's see what happens. Well, obviously this is to address immediate needs. Emily Rose McCrae, who's quoted in this article, she's on the team of Gartner that did this research. And she says effective quiet hiring depends on framing. If you're asking a bunch of people to make this move, you should be able to articulate what does this mean for them. Ideally, the answer is career advancement. But the rub is that not all the time are managers giving them the pay, the bump in pay, and the bump in title. They're just letting people or asking people to take on more responsibility, but they're not rewarding them for doing a good job taking more responsibility. And so this is creating a lot of tension in the workplace. And it should, because it's bad bossery. It's bad bossery. This is what bosses do. Leaders don't do this. Leaders serve. Leaders love. Leaders communicate that, hey, I see you. I see that you have taken on a bunch of responsibility from Bob when we lost Bob. And you're doing a good job. And we see you. We appreciate you. And we want to show you how we appreciate you. I can't give you this much, but I can give you this. I'd like to give you more responsibility as a result of this. And so we're working out a plan where we could promote you here, and this is where it leads. This is leadership. You communicate to them. You don't just go, hey, man, thanks. Thanks for picking up all of Bob's duties. Hey, you want to go grab a beer? Hey, what if we go to Topgolf on Friday night? It's not what they want. You're not going to Topgolf your way into keeping people around, leaders. Or bad bosses, rather. Leaders understand this. Bosses don't get it. You're not going to have a pizza party or hey, let's all grab lunch and watch the new documentary on Netflix or what. I don't know. I don't know what people are doing. Hey, let's go play pool. Hey, I'm going to get a foosball for the break table, for the break room. Nobody cares. Well, they play it, Ken. Yeah, because they're humans. Well, they go to Topgolf and they seem to have a good time. Yeah, they're humans. But that doesn't speak to their value. You've entertained them. You've not spoken to their value. Because you could take them to Topgolf and have a great time, but they're going to show up the next day feeling as if they're doing more than they were supposed to do. They're trying to do a good job. They're taking on the added responsibility. And they don't have anything to show for it other than hitting some really bad golf shots and drinking too much beer. This is real. And leaders, I appreciate the attempt, but you need to understand there are 3 human needs that we all have that must be met in work. So it is not about just treating your employees with dignity. It is not just about being nice to them and caring. All those things are good. But as a leader, somebody who's really understanding what it takes to pull a team together in tough times, in good times, lead them effectively, serving them effectively, there's 3 human needs. One, they need to see purpose and meaning in their work. That's a narrative thing. That's a results thing. They need to know that they matter. That's coming from you. And then they need to see that the results that they're creating, it ties to their values in a way. They need to be recognized for their unique contribution is number 2. They need to be told publicly and privately, I see what you're doing. You're doing a great job. And here's how you're doing it. And here's how it matters. And the third thing is they need a relationship with their leader. Now, you can develop this at Topgolf. I don't want to completely knock the Topgolf idea, but they need a relationship. They need to feel like you're a coach or a mentor to them. But this idea of, well, they've picked up a bunch of extra duties. I'm just going to placate them. I'm just going to try to soothe them. I'm going to appease them. When they say something, I throw a little something here, but I don't actually value them. And here's what I mean by value. They've got to have those 3 human needs met, but then you must give them a very clear path forward. If you are in leadership at all, you must understand that most employees cannot articulate this, but the data articulates it. They don't want a better job. They want a better life. And to the extent that they feel like the job they have with you, the role they're playing leads to a better life, they're going to stay with you. They're going to be engaged. We got to get this. Stop manipulating. Please stop manipulating. And if you're being manipulated, it's time to start looking and then leaving shortly thereafter.
Are you wondering if you should leave your current job or stay put? You're not alone. That's why we created the Should I Quit My Job quiz. In just 5 minutes or less, this quiz will help you determine if you're at the right company and if you're in the right role. If you need to make a move, you'll even get practical next steps to keep you moving forward. Listen, stuck is a choice, and life is too short not to do what you were created to do. To take the quiz, go to kencoleman.com/quiz.
do we humans lie about our qualifications? What's going on? I'm going to tell you. Boy, this is in the news big time right now. One of the biggest stories in the world of politics is this guy by the name of George Santos. He's a New York State congressman, newly elected, I believe, in this latest election. Been in politics for a while, but so this cat has lied a lot, apparently, and it is like, I feel like there's a new revelation every day. Okay, and it started with looks like he lied on his resume that he submitted to Nassau County Republican Committee, and it's had a lot of outlandish stuff, and it's coming out that this guy is just, this dude loves spinning a yarn, and that's me being polite. He's a pathological liar is the fact. That's what he is. Let's give you a couple of examples, and we're going to dive deeper on this. And some of you have done this. Some of you are tempted to do it, and that's where we're going. Santos described himself as a proactive business development professional with extensive proven ability to optimize the bottom line. In other words, it's gobbledygook. It's nonsense. It's like me putting on a resume if I'd have been a young kid, let's say back in the old days when you did service at the gas station. This is what's coming to mind, you young people, so relax. I'm old. There used to be a time when you went to the gas station and a dude walked out named Larry, as I recall, full service, and Larry goes, "What do you take? Premium or unleaded?" And my dad would lean out the car and go, "Larry, fill her up with unleaded." And so Larry's back there, and he's unscrewing the stupid gas cap, and he's back there, clunk, 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 and he's, and it's so if I was Larry, and I was applying for a new job, and if I put on my resume, what my last job was, and if I put petroleum distributor specialist, you're lying. You're not a petroleum distributor specialist. You pump gas, Larry. All right. Hold on to that silly example, because we're going to go deeper on that. Because we all do this, or we're tempted to do this. We're in one of two buckets. We all do it or have done it, or we're tempted to do it. More on this. But this guy, Santos, he's claiming all these outlandish things. I'm not going to go any more into this. This dude's just another freaking crooked politician. He's so crooked that when he dies, they're going to have to screw him in the ground. That's what this guy is. I'm just going to tell you. That's what he is. Now, here's some data. Over 55% of people admit to lying on their resume at least once. This is interesting stuff. This is a new survey from Standout CV, which surveyed 1,785 Americans 18 or older. The number of Google searches about how to fake a resume is up 48% this year. Just a quick little example. Anytime I see a piece of data like this, and I don't even care what it's related to, but it's like, you want to know who we are as a society? You really want to know? Like, forget election outcomes. Forget whatever polling data or the census data is. If you just want to go, who are we as a society? And I mean the world. Who are we? Go do yourself some research on Google searches, because that's who we are. I mean, it is the ultimate arbiter of truth. 48%. It's up 48%. And then specific searches related to faking a job reference are up 52%. And it boggles the mind. I get a little touch of anxiety just reading that. How am I going to fake a job reference? What does that involve? I guess you got to have like a friend who's going to do a solid for you. As if they're going to check your references, I guess they're going to go to somebody, email, phone, whatever. I guess they're going to do that. Drives me bananas thinking about how would I keep up with all that nonsense. All right, now I'm going to unpack why we do this or why we're tempted to do this in just a moment. I'm keeping you on the hook for a second, because what are the top 8 resume lies? And then what are some of the reasons? And then what's going on with us, and how can we avoid this trap? Because it's a trap that could really hurt you. Okay? I mean, I don't really give a crap if this congressman resigns or not, because he's gotten caught on a bunch of resume stuff. But the bottom line is he's in a house of 435 people, and a whole lot of those people lie to us every day. Both parties, by the way, so I can equal opportunity offend everyone right now. What are they lying about? 8 most common resume lies, according to the people who lie. It begs the question, how do I know that you're not lying now? Those are for my deep thinkers in the audience. Number 1, 55% of people admit to lying about their previous work experience. Again, I don't understand this. You might as well be a professional gambler now. You're playing dice right now. You're playing craps, man. I hope I don't crap. 43% of people lie about their skills. Again, this boggles the mind. You want to talk about setting yourself up to be exposed and humiliated, it's this one right here. Yeah, I can do it. And then you show up and you got to do it. And then now what's the deal? Why would you do that to yourself? 41% lie about their college degree or equivalent qualifications. 39.5% lie about personal details such as age, location, or name. 39% lie about their high school details. Why would you do that? Nobody even cares. Nobody cares that you took shop in high school. Nobody. Nobody cares. This is a great time for me to remind you folks what the data says from HR experts, that the average amount of time that a hiring manager spends looking at your resume is 7.4 seconds. And I think that's generous. For those of you watching on YouTube, let me just demonstrate. 1 1,000, 2 1,000, 3 1,000, 4 1,000, 5 1,000. Are you kidding me? I don't even think they're going to make it to 5. I just did a little example right there. It was painfully long. I got a lot of details there in 5 seconds, Alex. I'm just saying, what are we doing? Why lie about stuff that they're not even going to look at? 33% lie about salary. 33.5% lie about job-specific software equipment skills. And then finally, number 8, 21% lie about employer references, which is just playing with danger. So why do we lie on our resume? Why do we lie in job interviews? Or why are we tempted to do so? Here it is. This is the ugly side of imposter syndrome, which is just a new fancy way of saying I struggle with doubt. And let me tell you something. Doubt leads to deceit. When I doubt that I might not get the job on my merits, I'm tempted to be deceitful. When I doubt that maybe I'm doing well, I start to get tempted to be deceitful. It is imposter syndrome that leads us to being imposters. The irony. And lying on your resume, lying in a job interview is fraud. And it's wildly damaging. I'll never forget one of the most to me in my lifetime, the biggest falls from grace on lying that I can remember is a guy by the name of George O'Leary, a very successful football coach. And I believe he was at Navy at the time, but he goes and he takes the Georgia Tech job, which is a big-time football job. And he's a successful coach. And in doing the background check on him, I know what it was for. It was for Notre Dame. He takes the Notre Dame job. I apologize. He leaves Georgia Tech to go to Notre Dame. Notre Dame. And they do a basic background check and find out that he lied about something from high school and they couldn't trust him. Boom. Gone. Done. It's not worth it. Hey, if you doubt, don't be deceitful.
If the thought of attending a networking event makes you break out in hives, you're not alone. And I'll let you in on a secret. Networking in the traditional sense doesn't work, but genuine connection is all about relationships. That's why we created Networking the Right Way. This free guide is the low-pressure, high-impact way to overcome the awkwardness, build real relationships, and turn your connections into opportunities. To get the guide, go to kencoleman.com/network.
Helping you with breakthroughs so that you can do what you were born to do. I'm Ken Coleman. This is the Ken Coleman Show. Let's go to Jeremy in West Palm Beach, Florida. Little jealous, not going to lie. Like the West Palm area. Jeremy, you're on the Ken Coleman Show.
Hi, good afternoon. Yes, it's beautiful today.
All right, enough.
Beach, yeah.
Enough, my
Great golf
friend.
weather.
Oh, he's really sticking it to me now. I love myself a good golf outing. I do.
I know it. I hear you. Hey, so here's the question. I am in a very good career right now, but I've had this driving internal pull like the last month or so to pursue a new career, which I have a plumbing career. That's what I want to pursue. I currently work for a government agency in the county and been here for 10 years, but it's just a monotonous day to day. I feel like a lot of my skill set
sounds like a great idea. Sounds like a great idea. What are you waiting on? What's holding you back? My wife and I are in baby step 2. So to finance, not obviously, we're going to cash flow the schooling and everything, but is it okay to start that and still stay where I'm at currently, but, work on my licensing because I want to end up with my own business. Yeah. Yes. Yes.
For a plumbing contractor.
Yeah. Yeah. It's completely all right. For our audience who doesn't know what he means by baby step 2, that's Ramsey show speak for the 7 baby steps that get you out of debt and allow you to live and give in a wealthy manner. And baby step 2 is paying off all of his debt. So no, you're just going to cash flow your qualification process while you're paying off your debt.
That's correct.
Yeah.
Yes.
What do you need my permission?
I mean, we're nervous because we don't want to jump into something. But
all right, so let's break down.
It.
I know you can, but let's break down your nerves. Those are real. That's fear. What are you afraid of? Be specific.
Just not being able to provide for my family.
Okay, what must be true for that to happen? Be specific.
What must be true for what?
Your fear. Let me say it another way. Your fear is that you won't be able to provide for your family.
Yeah.
While holding down your government job and getting trained to be a plumber.
Oh, no, absolutely. I can withstand. I could do that. I'm talking if I shift to full on plumbing down the road.
Okay, great. What must be true for you to be a plumber and yet not be able to take care of your family? What would need to happen? What would be the reality? You're scared that this is going to happen. Yes or no?
Correct.
So describe the reality that must come to pass. You're afraid of something bad happening. I'm walking you right to the door. What would have to happen to where you're a plumber qualified, but you can't take care of your family?
I just don't do it. Right?
It's an excellent answer.
But I'm going to do it.
No, hold on a second. Yeah, hold on. Hey. It's still called the Ken Coleman Show, not the Jeremy Coleman Show. Let me finish.
Yeah, absolutely.
I'm messing with you, brother.
I hear you.
What are the chances? Let's use 100% to 0%. That's our range. What are the chances that you're going to get qualified to be a plumber and not be able to get a job, or get a job and get fired because you're a total loser?
I would think 0.
0%.
Yes.
I want to remind you, that's your opinion, and I agree with you.
Thank you.
Hey, You know what we just did there? I want to make sure everybody, I'm having a little fun with Jeremy, but I want to make sure everybody, I want Jeremy, I want you to hear this, and I want everybody else to hear and see this that's listening and watching the show right now. Jeremy's not a wacky, goofy guy. Jeremy has fear. And when we are confronted with fear, by the way, you are only confronted with the voice of fear when you are trying to make progress or you are making progress. So great news. If you're dealing with fear, you're thinking about moving forward or you are moving forward.
I'm going to move forward.
Yeah, baby. Yeah, I'm talking to you and everybody else. Now watch. When we experience fear, we must say to ourselves, is fear telling me the truth and protecting me, or is fear lying to me and holding me back? And in this case, it was lying to you and threatening to hold you back. Bro, go be a plumber, man. Get that junk out of the pipes, man.
According to Glassdoor, the average job offer attracts over 250 applicants. If you've made it to the interview, you've already made a great impression. So now is the time to showcase how you are the best choice for the role. That's why we created How to Win the Interview. This free guide will walk you through the 5 strategies to help you stand out amongst the competition. With just some intentionality, you can prepare yourself to win the interview. Go to kencoleman.com/interview.
Coaching you to break through so you can do what you were born to do. This is the Ken Coleman Show. I'm Ken. Hey, we are growing, and that is because of you, and I am asking you to continue to help us. In fact, I can't do what I want to do to the level that I want to do it without you, the people that listen and watch the show. 2 things. You're the greatest marketing strategy of all time. If this show is equipping you in any way and encouraging you in any way, would you, if you're on podcast form, that's the format you engage on the show, would you give us a positive review, a nice rating, a positive review, and then just share it with somebody that you believe needs to hear an episode or listen in? And if you're on YouTube, subscribe, please, and also share the show. You are doing that for us. We are seeing it, and I am truthfully very grateful. All right. Let's get back to the phones and our coaching session. Peter is joining us now in Chicago. Peter, you're on the Ken Coleman Show.
Hey, Ken. How's it going?
I am living the dream. What's going on?
So I took the Get Clear assessment and still tend to overthink and not sure if I'm too confident on the direction I'm going.
Okay, good. Well, let me tell you something. When we are in a state of overthinking, it is impossible to be confident. So my job here on these next few minutes is for us to turn your brain off and let's engage your heart. Okay?
Yep.
I'm glad you took the Get Clear assessment. If you're new to the show, this is a printout of the actual assessment. It's a fabulous report, which gives you real detail on 3 key elements of who you are. What you do best, we call talent. What you love to do, specifically work, we call passion, and what results motivate you, we call that mission. And then we put it together in a purpose statement so that you have truly a high-level description of the role you're supposed to fill, not the job you're supposed to get. It's how am I making my purpose come alive in the workplace through the contribution that I'm giving people. So, what are you overthinking?
So I'm still figuring out the role more specific to this. Can I read you my purpose statement?
My man, you're already ahead of me. So read it slow so that folks can follow along and I can write these results down. Go ahead.
Okay. I was created to use my talents of organization, compassion, logic to perform my passions of teaching, leading, promoting, to accomplish my mission of influence by producing change and progress.
Yeah, baby. So this is people. This is people work and people results. True or false?
True.
Yeah, baby. So we got to break that down, right? You got when you see this, folks, and you take the assessment, or if you're thinking about taking the assessment, when you see your purpose statement, what you have to look at is you go, wait a second, there's really 4 types of work. There's people work, there's ideal work, there is process work, and there are things type work, right? So I'm building something, it's very tactile with my hands, right? And then you could just match that up and go, okay, am I good at people work? Do I like people work? And I think we know the answer to that. Are you good with people? Yes or no?
Yes.
Do you like working with people? Yes or no?
Yes.
Yes. Okay. So are you getting locked up on a specific career path idea when you read that purpose statement?
Yes. I tend to think sales role would be good, but I feel like I'm not dreaming big enough. Or coaching sounds awesome, but I don't know necessarily type of coach.
Okay. But my friend, you're really further along than you think you are. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Because you really gave us what's going on here, and you are overanalyzing, because largely I think that you are dealing with a lot of self-doubt. Is that true or false?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
If you'd be willing to share your heart with me really quick, I think we can get some breakthrough. You don't have to tell me all your personal details, but I want you to tell me, why are you doubtful? Why are you dealing with self-doubt?
I think when it comes to the role, I'm not good at making those decisions because maybe fear of making the wrong decision, and because I've already moved a previous job and that wasn't so fun. So I want to make sure it's the right fit.
All right.
And so I'm always hesitant to go in the next direction.
Yeah, but is that based on the last job, or is that based on your life history, your experience and environment you grew up in?
I'd say it's more the job.
Okay, so you've been burned.
Mm-hmm.
You burned yourself, and so now you doubt yourself.
Mm-hmm.
That's what's going on, right?
Yeah.
All right, great.
Yeah.
Now we've got the story that we've got to deconstruct. The story in your head is, I made a bad professional decision, career decision, job decision, however you want to say it. I made a bad decision in the past, and now I doubt my ability to make a good decision. That's the narrative.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Well, let me tell you what I think the narrative ought to be. I made a bad decision, but I have the ability to learn from that bad decision. I have learned from that bad decision, and that is going to now inform my ability and almost guarantee that I will make a good decision.
Mm-hmm.
That's the proper narrative.
Okay.
I used to work for a guy by the name of John Maxwell, leadership guru, and he wrote a brilliant book one time, one of my favorite book titles that I've ever seen. And then he actually renamed it with another brilliant book title. And this is the lesson. The title of the book was Failing Forward. We as humans have this fear of failure. It is wired deep into our souls. It's who we are. You can't escape it, but we must overcome it. But we've got to start to do what successful people do, Peter, and successful people fail forward. They go, I hate that. I don't like the way it feels. I'm going to dig deep into it and figure out why I failed, where I failed, how I failed, and I'm going to make sure that I don't do that again. So John retitled that book years later. Sometimes you win, sometimes you learn. Now, a lot of people were listening and watching and went with the old colloquial phrase, sometimes you win, sometimes you lose. And John titled it, Sometimes You Win, Sometimes You Learn. And if we start to look at losses as opportunities to learn, so if I take my losses and I change the mental approach, the mindset is I didn't lose, I just learned. Right? Okay. So and listen, we all naturally default to, well, crap, I just lost. Well, you did. Because this isn't some new age, make everybody feel good, mamby-pamby crap that's all over our society. You lost. Make no mistake. You lost. How do you think TCU feels right now? They got embarrassed
Yeah, pretty bad.
The Georgia Bulldogs took him out to the shed and whooped him. I promise you, Sonny Dykes and the coaching staff of TCU, they were miserable. There's losing and then there's a butt kicking. But I promise you what they didn't do. They didn't resign. They didn't say we were going to quit. They looked at the tape. They learned about themselves as coaches. They learned about the plays, the schemes, whatever. They learned about who we need to have on that team. They learned from it. So, my friend, you need to understand, and I'm not even worried about you coming up with ideas now. You got ideas.
Mm-hmm.
If you want to be in sales, go be in sales and crush it in sales, and then go, wait a second, sales, maybe more so than any professional position that exists today, provides me an opportunity to almost go anywhere I want to go. If I'm a good salesperson, I could eventually be a good leader.
Mm-hmm.
If I'm a good leader, I could become a good business owner. If I know how to sell something, I know how to launch something. If I understand sales, I could understand marketing. If I understand how to sell something, I could be an entrepreneur. Do you see where I'm going?
Yeah, totally.
Why don't you just stop thinking and get back inside that purpose statement and you say, I was created to use my talents of organization, compassion, and logic to do the passion of teaching, leading, and promoting to influence people. That's what you're going for. Stop thinking and start doing. This is the Ken Coleman Show. Press on.
Thanks for listening to the Ken Coleman Show. For more, you can find the show on demand wherever you listen to podcasts and watch the show on YouTube. You can also find Ken across all social media by following @Ken Coleman.